Welcome back to episode 200 of the 2 Months Podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Marshall. Tonight, I got my co host, Clay Vanderham, with me. Vandy, how's it going?
Daddy is daddy. We are at two bills, eh? Wow. I think I don't know how many I've done with you. Congratulations to you, us, the Mutts fans, and whatnot. I'm great. I spent last week in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yes,
My
and we,
kid, my kid was. Well, you guys will hear later on in the podcast how good of a time I was having. Um, but no, my kid was fortunate enough to make Team Alberta for his age group, and for inline roller hockey. And we went down to Fort Wayne and participated in State Wars, is what they call it. It's their big national championship, and teams from Virginia, Tennessee, Florida, all the non-hockey hotbeds. And our boys got a little lesson in year-round inline and how these kids can
in
play.
in north, south, southwest, southeast. Hey,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean,
you'll
to,
get
to
there.
yeah, to counter that point or to talk on that point sober is the game is different. Our boys, our ice hockey players, they go, come back for a breakout, try to, there's no red line, there's no icing, so most of these teams are just all they do is swing through the middle, and our boys were a little, I think, overwhelmed. We had four, five, probably six of our nine kids on the team first year in line, so it was definitely an eye opener, but a great time. We had great parents, met some great people, talking to different state teams, and the one thing I was kind of a proud dad moment was Jace was standing there, and so you get a pin, you can buy Team Alberta pins, and you trade them with other teams. Um, so anyway, Jace was standing there, and he was trading pins with the kid, like the best. This kid was on three different Florida teams. Corbin, I think, was his last name. This kid was incredible, an incredible inline player. But he was fascinated um, by the fact that Jace was playing ice hockey. So he played ice hockey, and then I don't know if he did or not, or what's. He kept asking what it's like up in Canada. So and and then kids from Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois. They were talking, and it was cool that my kid was there and got to represent it. And then so the way we traveled there is we flew into Chicago, drove to Fort Wayne, and then coming home we drove to Chicago, flew out of Chicago, and we got to catch a Cubs game.
Yeah,
And at Wrigley Field, that was incredible. It was for me. It was a bucket list. Jace was, he's 14 years old, subdued. He was like, yeah, whatever. It's great, but no, it was a good time. Good time had by all.
perfect. Awesome. And yeah, the voice you heard is Phil Stockley. Phil, how's it going?
going pretty good. Just can't believe it's episode 200. I know I kind of jumped in here on the tail end after you guys got the ball rolling. So, congratulations to you, Bosco, on 200 episodes, buddy. And I'm glad to be a part of this.
Yeah, it's a pretty special accomplishment, and I'd like to thank our presented sponsor BioStill for being with us for this whole season, and continue to keep us on for the following season. And our amazing family at Go Goat Sports, the great team there, Robert and Trevor and Robert, and just the amazing group over there. And nice, beautiful city they're in Vancouver, and they're kind of the Vancouver branch, and they reach every platform in every area, and we're happy to be a part of that family too. And to do this on a special podcast, it's means a lot. I don't think I ever thought at any point we were going to get picked up by anyone, and we did. And we're sitting here now at episode 200, and you guys are going to hear an amazing interview from a lot of people that have helped us along the way, and then just a capped off amazing interview to the end and obviously our first guest is going to be Matt Benning. What he's done with us, and this is the fourth time he's joined us, and continued to help us out and be there for us. And then Jason Chimera, Vernon Fiddler, two great guys, longtime NHL players. The fact that these guys have done so much for us, and Millwoods guys, and I was a Millwoods guy until my dad passed away, and then Vandy's been a Millwoods guy his whole entire life, and like even having Rupper and Brody kind of join us too along the way, and Ryan Petrovich, and and many others, Jake Baker. We've had a lot of great people kind of chime in, help out, steer the ship, and that's pretty sweet. So yeah, we'll have Matt Benning, and then Jason Chimera, Vernon Fiddler, and Milan Lucic, who's also another guy who's helped us out big time. Another amazing interview with him, and then capping it off with the headliner interview, the one that everyone a legend and the chairman of the Hockey Hall of Fame, the Hockey Hall of Famer himself. Just a great way to cap things off with Lenny McDonald. So so great success there. And without further ado, we have Matt Benning standing by. So let's get to our interview with Matt Benning for the San Jose Sharks. Mutts fans, our next guest has played 443 NHL regular season games. He is a good friend of ours. It's the fourth time he's been on our podcast. He just had an amazing year with the San Jose Sharks, his career in assists and points. And we kind of called the 100 points, the career point would be in Edmonton, and he sure got that. As we saw him at a morning skate, we like to welcome Matt Benning from the San Jose Sharks to the 2 Months podcast on episode 200. Benz, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to have you on. So I know just chat with you here. Life's been pretty crazy, but how are things? Are you able to kind of a little bit settle, or what's going on in your world that getting maybe some relaxation time as you possibly can, but also staying busy and fit as another great season is upon you?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a fine balance of seeing your friends, having fun, as well as, staying focused and motivated for the next season. So, this summer, my sister got married, my brother-in-law got married. So, there's a couple weddings out there, really close family weddings, and we're moving into a new house with 2 kids. It's never easy.
Yeah.
So, it's been busy, but, we got a month and a bit here left of, summer, and before we, get back into the swing of things in San Jose. So, I'm looking forward to hopefully, enjoying some time off, but equally working as hard as well.
Nice. That's good. So obviously the 4-year deal you signed in San Jose in your first year, it's in the books. You obviously got to play with the Norris Trophy defenseman and Erik Karlsson, and you've had the chance to play with Roman Josi and some other great players. But more or less important to talk about the season you had, obviously career in assists and points, and what kind of do you think attributed to that? And obviously signing there gave you an opportunity to play a big role, and with a great team and great coaching staff, and Mike Grier is your general manager and Coach Quinn is your head coach. But talk about the season you had in San Jose, and how excited are you to get back there and get going again too?
Yeah, for sure. I think, this season was kind of my first season where, I got a glimpse of second pair, 3-4 minutes, which was exciting. And, in the past I've had that opportunity, but it was just a short term, sort of thing. So, there was definitely more opportunity for me to grab out there. I saw some time on the power play a little bit. I was out there in the penalty kill. I really felt like, my role was appreciated and wanted on the team. So I think kind of that helped, gain momentum for me kind of going throughout the season. And, it was, like you said, playing with Josi and Karlsson, you get to, really learn off those guys. And, when I was in Edmonton with Connor and Leon and Nuge, those top end players, I always try to, pick their brain and, kind of see what they're seeing. And, I think for a lot of the, pro NHL guys, it's more of a mindset. You can for the most part, do what most guys can do. But it's more of a mindset of, for me, shooting for sticks at the point rather than shooting it just to not get blocked. Just little confidence mindset things like that really helped me. And having a front row seat to watch Eric do his thing this year was pretty special too. So, I think it's also, seventh year. So, I'm comfortable out there. I know the type of players that are out there. It was, a little bit of that. I would also say it's probably, the coaching staff played a system that I really liked and allowed me to, get out there for offensive zone touches, which, led to the assists and the points thing. So, for me, I'm not a points guy, but it's nice when you can contribute that way.
Yeah, no, I think you're a good hell of a two-way player. Obviously, I'm going to be super biased on what you can do and everything like that. But one of the cool things I like when I go around the rinks or people ask or ask other people, scouts or managers, and I bring up your name and stuff like that. There's a lot of great compliments, but one obviously the great thing is you're from a great history of hockey in your family, but just the hockey sense and kind of the knowledge and know where to be and know how to that stick position. Obviously there's probably a lot of that comes from your father and just in your uncles and whatnot, and obviously your little brother's he's making the path to the pro career here, just signing a contract with the Florida Panthers. But can you kind of talk about that hockey sense and like where that kind of maybe comes from, or how that kind of comes to you, for fans that maybe want to know a little bit more about that? I don't know if that's a great question, but it's obviously you hear that a lot. It's like that hockey sense. Like, can you kind of elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. I think at a young age, it was mainly my dad. He was, my coach for a lot of years, kind of growing up until probably Bantam. And at the time, I was like, he's so hard on me. He's the hardest on me. No one else gets benched except for me and stuff like that. But I think he did a really good job in encouraging me to make plays. Even if I didn't make those plays, or if I wouldn't connect on the pass or that sort of thing, he was always encouraging me to make plays. And for me, being a right-handed defenseman, most centers growing up, and even I would say nowadays in the NHL, are left-handed. So that passing lane to find, a centerman in the middle on their forehand was something that, my dad and my grandpa kind of stapled in, and for me for many years. And at the time I didn't really think of it, but as I was kind of climbing the ranks, it's like, not everybody can have the confidence and ability to make that middle pass. And for the most part, you look at the players in the league, your top players are mainly playing center too. So that was just an opportunity for me to showcase breaking the puck out of the zone, or making a nice middle play through the neutral zone, where I think that kind of hockey IQ that you're talking about is getting wrapped around that. So it was encouraging me to make those plays. It was, if there's not a passing lane, you got to move your feet to make a passing lane. Geez, what else? I was always the guy that, would try to, I was a pass first mentality guy in the offensive zone. And, my dad was always, look for the shot first, and kind of get selfish that way. And I think it's kind of the way I am. I like to, pass, but, there was a lot of family dinners, and my grandpa, he's passed now, but, he'd wait after every one of my games and kind of break down the game with me and that sort of thing. And I took it, I took it very seriously with him, knowing he was a scout for a long time, and he just saw some good talent coming up through the Western League. So, there's a lot of good hockey minds that kind of helped shape me.
Before I toss it over to Clay, to kind of follow up with that, like how much of it when you're a kid, just going to the rink, or would you watch a lot of games like Hockey Night Canada? Like, because one of the kind of the cool things that you always kind of hear with some players is, even later in this pod, we'll hear what Luch has to say too about, just being a guy that, there's a game that if he's on an off night, he's kind of watching the teams play that night when he's at home resting. I don't know how much like you get a chance to do it with the young kids, but was a lot of that there as a kid before you had, a family of your own? Because I know at times it's hard to get all that, the family time is important, especially when you come back on the road and whatnot too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think, I think mainly it was, my first couple years I was scratched a good amount. And, rather than watching a game on TV on my off days, it was more of, if we were playing, if Edmonton was playing LA, for example, I wasn't, and this may sound bad, I wasn't necessarily watching, guys on Edmonton. I was watching like, Drew Doughty or, Martinez or, guys like that, I'm like, hey, I can, I can definitely learn a lot of things off these guys. I'm not much of a TV person. I think my attention span's way too short, but
Yeah.
There's definitely other ways to learn around the game. And, that's what I tell a lot of young kids too is, just be a student of the game. You don't need to, go too crazy into it, but, ask questions, learn from other players that, maybe do some things a little bit better than you. Pick 3-4 guys in the NHL that, you want to be like, or, pick parts of the game, that you can get better at and watch them and just learn. So, for me, it was a lot of that.
Nice. Phil,
That's funny you say that, Matt, because kids nowadays, I don't think they watch hockey at all. If there are still the few kids that do, but I think mostly they watch highlights and YouTube and this, that, the other thing. And I every year I coach minor hockey, and every year I try to think of something different. And last year I tried it where I got the kids, just watch a game, guys. Watch the Oilers in the playoffs. Just watch a game, and then pinpoint. Obviously, they're all going to watch Connor. They're going to watch, the stars. But and then come back and ask questions.
Yeah.
If and that's one thing that I was going to bring in this year. I said just watch one game. I don't care, one game all season, and then come back to me as a coach or our coaching staff and ask questions. I think that's where I think the game is awesome. It's fun to watch, but kids nowadays they want to do everything now. They want to learn it now, and they don't want to take the time. And yeah, that's interesting you say that there's nothing wrong with watching the opposition, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think just piggybacking off you too, it's a lot of those kids are watching YouTube or Instagram videos or whatever, and like I think maybe a little bit, especially growing up now, just I'm just working out and seeing all these young kids playing skate. It seems like everyone wants to be the stick handler, dangler, goal scorer, where there's actually, you can make a great career out of yourself. Just being. And we talked about this before, as Rob Scuderi came up to me. He's like, Benny, he's like, if you could really hone in on being a 5, 6, 7 defenseman, he's like, that's what I did, and I played a long time and made a great career out of myself. So I think sometimes on those platforms you get lost in a guy doing the Michigan or guy doing that, where and I don't know how this could come about, but it's almost like I told our coaches, we had a great coach in Nashville. Oh my God, he's gonna kill me for not knowing, but he used to be a player, and he was very good at.
Was it Dan Heino?
Danny Heino, yeah. Sorry,
Oh.
sorry.
oh,
Danny.
you saved his ass, Bosco.
Second, Danny. And he was so good at getting the role players to feel good about their role, which I think sometimes gets lost in teams. So, if young coaches or even coaches coming up the ranks, it's easy just to be hot and heavy about your top players, but you get a really good team when you're encouraging everybody and everybody has their role. That's when you get guys to go through the wall for you. But yeah, you know, I totally agree.
Vandy, your
Has
turn.
the,
Yeah, go ahead.
you mentioned, how playing with Carlson, Yossi, obviously they're big names in the NHL. Has the game, you've been involved now in the NHL for, 7 to 10 years, whatever it is professionally. Has the game slowed down for you? Is that, if that makes
Uh,
sense? You know,
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you're saying. Um, I would say yes, but I think in my head the game is slowed down, but in reality it was just more of, my first 2, 3 years, it was just the role that was in. I was a sixth defenseman, and if I made a mistake, I would be pulled out of the lineup. It was more of like that process. So I didn't feel like I could have, as much poise with the puck as I do now. And, maybe my leash now is a little bit longer, but, um,
and
it
it's
took
a
me,
situation too, right? I
yeah, it
mean,
took me a little,
kind of
it
like
took me,
he's
it took
rebuilding.
me, yeah,
Sorry, I
for
didn't mean
sure. Like
to.
it took me, no, it took me just like a little bit to, figure that side of it out. And, you know, I think every kind of NHL player goes through it, in a different way but for me, it was just, how long can I hold on the puck for before I get in trouble? I've never been the best skater. I'm probably in the, bottom third, for skating, but, you know, once I learned, okay, I feel like on my left shoulder, I can turn to my backhand, or, just like little things like that. And I think a lot of that was just practicing and getting used to it and just getting more confidence. But, I think maybe if anything, the game got faster technically. When I first came in, the fourth lines were the guys that I was playing against, and those guys were heavy guys, um, who maybe didn't move as well. Where now it's, you're getting a lot of younger guys who definitely have speed, and they're not as heavy. So, a
And
little bit
yeah,
shift
I
in the
mean,
NHL
the
that way.
game, yeah, it obviously it has gotten faster, but I mean, mentally it's slowed down for you. I think is what you were saying is, you're reading those plays. You're not, I won't say panicking, because guys at your level, I don't know if they panic, but you're mentally, you're visualizing the game is a lot slower. You're seeing more options out there, I guess,
Yeah,
if you will, and you're in it. You're in a situation for success where you're not worried about, getting pulled, and because that plays a factor too. 100% it does. And
yeah. No, I think you're right, because, you know, my analogy would be, if I felt a guy was on me my first couple years, I was trying to get rid of the puck so it wouldn't be a turnover in our own zone to come back. Where now I feel, I have the confidence where if a guy's on me, I'm figuring out how can I escape him and find one of my teammates. So it's just, you can make, a lot better plays that way. It's just,
yes,
I wanted to stay in the NHL. I didn't want to go to the minors. I didn't want to be, sitting in the stands watching, my coach telling me to watch Drew Doughty and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. And, I think every player wants to, stick and not go down, obviously. So that's kind of my fight or flight of, sticking around.
good for you. You had a chance. He's now with the Oilers to play with Matthias Ekholm. Talk about the. I mean, we know what kind of player he is. We'll talk about that, but talk about the person he is. I think we've seen it. He's been here most of the summer, and just talk about the kind of person he is, and what Edmonton can expect a full season of Matthias next year.
I mean, yeah, for sure. As most of my buddies are Oilers fans, so they would text me all the time, "Hey, we're so glad we got Ekholm," and that sort of thing. And I think a lot of fans can see what he can do on the ice, but as a guy, he's very caring. He's a natural leader. He just has that presence, whether it's him being tall or him having this crazy big beard.
Big
Just
Viking personality, right?
yeah. You know, he's definitely a guy you want to have, and he's, you know, I think for a lot of Oilers fans, it's exciting because you know he's had a lot of playoff experience in Nashville. You know, they didn't get the job done, but he went to the finals. You know, big part, and he's a guy I think you know on that team that you know will surprise a lot of players in terms of you know getting up in the rush, and you know he scored against us. You know that classic slap shot, you know, glove side from the dot, and you know he has a lot you know more offensive than I think people give him credit for, and you know I think Oilers fans will definitely see that next year. He's you know he's you know one of the best two-way players in the league. He can shut guys down. He can be mean if he wants to be mean. You know he can still skate. He's you know he's the whole package for sure.
So I'm gonna actually go back for a second to your time with the Oilers, and everybody knows that I'm the Flames guy on the podcast. I'm a Flames fan, and one of the highlights I remember is you absolutely walking Noah Hannafin and ripping one home. Take us through that goal, and would you say that's your career highlight goal, you think?
Uh yeah, you know, I think it'd definitely be close. I think, you know, just growing up.
It was nice. That was like super nice goal. I'm like, who was like that was Benning? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
as a
no, there's
Flames
Because he
fan, I
just
was
came back
pretty
from
upset. So
he just came back from injury too, I think, right? In that one.
yeah, I was out for like a month and a half maybe with like a whiplash,
Yeah.
weird injury. So yeah, I definitely, you know, the guys in the team are happy for me to get back. And then, you know, just to kind of touch on it, just being an Oilers fan growing up and being season ticket holders, like I knew what the Battle of Alberta meant. So, you
yeah.
know, that part of it was huge, you know, getting back and scoring a goal early. You know, I still remember um, you know, thinking, thinking back on that goal, I was going to go in and shoot it. And I think we were it was a tying goal, right? It was 3-2 and I scored 3-3 or something. And
Yeah,
you
you
know,
tied the game at 3.
yeah, and Connor was right beside me and he's like, "Go Benny, go Benny, go." And you know, I think I kind of surprised Hannafin because it looked like I was just going to shoot it and rim it. And then you know, just playing with David Rittich my last year in Nashville, I always, you know, me and him are pretty close, so I always made fun of him. And for scoring on him, he's like, "Benny, you're such a liar. You were not trying to shoot 5 hole. You definitely fanned on that one." And I said, "Oh yeah, I was going shelf all day and I fanned on it 5 hole, but hey, it still counts." So I was happy to, to get that. It was a big goal for the team and to tie things up. And you know, that celebration in the corner with me and Connor was pretty cool. There was a pretty neat picture, and you know, I got it printed and got him to sign it for me, so that'll be, you know, a cool keepsake when I'm old and washed up and can show my kids that, hey, I, you know, scored a goal. He told me what to do and I did it and I scored.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just tell him I looked off Connor and just ripped one home, eh?
Yeah. Told him to beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we were all fortunate just this last season you came and we were able to bring a group to the morning skate for the San Jose Sharks, and I had my two little guys there, and I just wanted to say thank you to you, and you know, I was so impressed with you how you took time for every single kid at that event, and I thought that was just like super cool. And I was talking to Bosco that night, and my kids, like, they have their whole like little setup in the basement, and my older boy, he was pretending to be Matt Benning after that. So, and I just thought that was like super cool because like they always like announce their get like what they're doing, and my older boy Theo, he's like he kept saying Benning passes to whoever my other boy was, and I texted Bosco right away. I'm like, yeah, my son's pretending to be Benning now. So
That's
so
awesome.
I just wanted to say thank you for that, man. And it was really cool, like I said, how you took all the time for those kids. And I was gonna ask you, did that ever happen to you as a kid? Like I know you had hockey in your life as a kid, like with your dad and stuff. So is there a
Yeah,
moment that maybe sticks out to you like that?
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think one of the biggest, you know, influences of me being hockey was obviously my dad and just the whole family. But you know, my dad retired at 29, and you know, I was not even a year old yet, so I don't really remember him actually playing in the NHL. But what I do remember is, you know, he'd do the alumni skates quite often with a lot of the, you know, a lot of the old alumni players. You know, there was a good amount of them, and just, you know, the memory with, you know, sitting in the dressing room with my dad, you know, getting ready, getting you know, undressed and that sort of thing. Getting to, you know, go around this, you know, the dressing room and getting autographs from all these old Oilers was such a, you know, key memory for me. You know, just how much that meant to me. So, you know, it's you know, I try to tell, you know, the younger guys that, you know, the status that we have, especially in Canada, is so, you know, so much and so powerful that, you know, if you can use it to, you know, affect kids to play hockey. I think hockey is such a great thing, not only, you know, just to play hockey, but, you know, to have to be a part of a team and feel that dynamic and get friends that way. And, you know, you learn, you know, how to talk to people. You learn there's just so much of the game outside of the game that, you know, I think is important. So, you know, whatever we can do as, you know, professionals to encourage, you know, kids to play hockey or sports is, you know, super important.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It's yeah, because like my love for the game kind of much started when I think I was maybe 11 years old, and I got to meet Doug Gilmore and Matthew Schneider. And I was like, I was at the YMCA downtown, and I was playing floor hockey with my big brother from Big Brother's Big Sister program that my mom rolled us in, and he was from Toronto, and I was like, I met these guys. At the time, I really didn't know who they were, and then I just, you know, became, you know, a big fan of the game after that, and it just spearheaded, you know, the love for playing the game, and you know, the fact that, you know, we sit here today, like episode 200, and you know, the relationships that we created with all the people that are a part of it. And, you know, like this episode's gonna have like Luch part of it, and you know Luch very well.
Well, I the our episode, which I love, the 200. We put a lot of thought into this, and it's going to have all the guys that supported us. And Matt, you've been a big part of it. You know, Luch, Chimmer, Fids, and you know, lucky enough to have Lanny. But Matt, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Bosco.
Oh
But
no, no.
Matt, what you've done for our podcast and speaking, it just tells what kind of person you are, and you know, I hope people realize that, you know, the hockey players are the greatest people in the world. Man, they're, I don't care what, there are negative people, but there's negative people everywhere. But now you're you're the epitome of what I want my kids, you know, should they grow up and make it in whatever they remember where they came from. And that's
Right. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. That's, you know, very kind words, but, you know, it's a lot of, you know, how you're raised and, you know, going back to just that hockey dynamic. I think, you know, getting really good friends, you know, that you can be close with and make memories with is, you know, so important just to, you know, becoming a good person. So, you know, you guys are very, you know, you're straight up guys. You know, you shed the light in a positive way on the players, which, you know, I think it's such a battle sometimes with media. It's more of, you know, it's players versus media where, you know, I saw instantly what you guys do and how it's so positive and, you know, it's easy to listen to and it's, you know, it still is really interesting and you know, you guys are definitely taking that approach, which I love and, you know, I can probably speak for Luch too. You know, he's been through a lot on, you know, a lot of different teams and you know, he appreciates that too. So, you know, it's easy to support guys like you who do that.
Yeah, no, it's very well said, and just, you know, I appreciate it, man. It's, you know, and it's just even when we have our text chain going on with you and just kind of just, you know, shooting the breeze and just having a conversation like that, it's always nice, and you know, regardless of what's going on in the world, you always have that time to take that conversation. And you know, it's a busy schedule you guys have, but is there to kind of close out, and thanks to that for sure. But one of the things you know, we like to kind of talk about too is, you know, and other things is hobbies and charitable stuff like that. Is there any kind of, you know, charity events that you're a part of this year? I know there's stuff that you do with your own charity, but are you guys kind of doing anything this year, or how's that going with you? I know it's a very, very busy summer, but how's that looking for you on the charitable side?
Yeah, so definitely get asked by, a good amount throughout the summer. So, like we talked about to start the podcast, it has to be a good mix of, working hard and doing that versus, doing more fun things. And, golf tournaments are an easy way for me to, help raise money and donate that way. I did a St. Albert Catholic High School foundation fund tournament earlier in the summer, which was good. Raised some money for the school board that that I grew up a part of. So a lot of the same principals and teachers that I was that were my teachers growing up are still there. So that was pretty special to do.
Yeah.
When I was in Edmonton, I was fortunate enough to become an ambassador with the Rainbow Society of Edmonton. They have recently rebranded their name into Alberta Dreams. So I unfortunately, because of the rain, we planned on doing the golf tournament this year. They rescheduled it to my son's birthday, so obviously I couldn't make the golf tournament. But yeah, that's one that I always support and I'm a part of too, and I think it went really well. So yeah, there's definitely a lot out there, but I try to do as much as I can.
It's good to, I don't know, giving back is such a rewarding thing in a way. Just in listening to you, watching you talk about it, you just had a smile on your face. And Luch was the same, and Liney was the same, and Fizz and Shimmer, kind of just the same thing too. So it's great. Phil, you have any final comments you want to say to Matt before we sign out here?
Yeah, just I'm kind of similar in the way I play ball. I play ball hockey with Bosco. I'm kind of similar.
He's a right shot.
I'm gonna take that advice. Right shot defenseman, and I'm gonna take your advice. Sometimes I gotta stop thinking that ball's a grenade and it's gonna blow up on my stick, and just
try to find the middle and don't let Bosco yell at you if you throw pizza up the middle.
I'm just gonna give Bosco a couple suicide passes there. Eh?
I gotta bail this guy out so many times. It's crazy, man.
Just give the ball to guys like me.
Yeah,
that are cherry picking.
You're easy to play. You're easier to play with, Vandy, though. So
I would never come back.
Exactly. Yeah. Vandy, you want to have any final comments to sign out here?
No. Again, thank you, Matt, and all the best. And unless you're playing the Oilers, good luck.
Fair enough. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Have a good season, buddy. Hey.
Thank you. Yeah, congratulations on 200. I know that's a big accomplishment. That's a lot of podcasts, you guys.
Yeah, a lot of work on editing and all that, but it's all worth it. It's all fun, and all the best to you and the fam. And really appreciate it. And like the guy said, I say good luck all 82 games of the year. So,
thank you. I appreciate
it. Especially against the Oilers. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one, Matt.
All right. See you guys.
Yeah. Mutts fans, wow, what a pod. What a pod that was. What a great guest list that I think we put together for our amazing fans and our sponsors and the people who have been loyal to us and those people that joined us. I cannot say enough for everyone. That was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. I definitely stick taps to our producer Cam Stewart, who spent a lot of hours on this. So Cam, sorry for all that, but I don't think he had to take out too much. But putting everything together is quite the thing over a 2-week period of all these interviews. And I know it's a risk to take all these great interviews and put them all together, but Vandy, thoughts on kind of what you heard and all these great interviews and the fun that it was too.
Well, I mean, I've had the privilege of you asking me onto this pod, whatever it was, 2020, 2019, whenever we joined up. And
yeah, it was 2020, man.
I never thought I'd be able to talk to the people that and get the guests and he did it kind of. It's unbelievable, and then the support that our local calm buddies give to us, Matt, uh, Fids, Chimera, Luch, all those guys. And then to get a legend in Lanny and to talk to him, and
It
it's
went on for 2 hours, that conversation, maybe three. Just
yeah. And here's the thing, he he had people at his house.
yes,
He was hosting people at his house, and he would have rather talked to us than not. He could have sat there for 3 hours.
That wedding anniversary, people at his house,
Oh, I
former
forgot.
friend of the
It was his
pod, Harry.
anniversary. That's right. Yeah, yeah. So, and then you'll hear me, you know, pipe into the middle of the conversation. And I apologize to Chimmer. I had a few red wines with parents off our inline team, and we were having kind of a
Came in hot. You came in hot, Vandy.
I did come in hot. I did come in hot, Philly. I did, and I apologize. Not for my actions, but
it's entertainment. It's entertainment.
I know, but I apologize for being ignorant to the facts. So, but you know what? Like I said earlier, congratulations to us, to our guests, and I think you heard Matt talk about it. We're genuine. I think.
Yeah.
I like using that term.
And Fids too. Fids said that too, right? Fids said like he wouldn't go on any other podcast. He said we're class act, and I think we can say the same about our guests too, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Yep. Well said.
Yeah, well said. Phil, your thoughts?
Yeah, like same thing. Like I know I'm kind of the last guy in here on this out of this core group of guys here, but to for my first interview to be Doug Gilmour, like that's a pretty huge step. And I remember the sleepless night before that interview thinking like, what am I doing? Like, what am I going to ask him? What am I going to say? And even like you think you listen back to that interview and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like so cringy hearing myself ask Doug Gilmour these questions, and every other word is like and yeah. So, and it's
we're not professionals.
then
we're amateurs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And we do this as a hobby on the side, and it's been a blast. And it's like I have conversations at like parties with people, and they can't believe our guest list and who we have. Like we had Darren Dreger on, and he said like our guest list is unreal. Like Darren Dreger saying our guest list is unreal. Like it must be pretty good, hey? So, and then to like cap it off with like Lanny McDonald in this interview, and I know I wasn't able to be on the Luch interview, but like Fids and Chimera, like such good people, and even like Benning today, and I know I mentioned it in like the interview with him, just like how good he is with the kids and the fans, and it just, and like you said, right, like it comes back to like how you're raised, right? So and I think I can say that I'm proud of this podcast, and I'm proud of what we represent. And there were a couple F-bombs slipped out in the Fids interview and in the Chimera interview that if it were up to me, I'd have Cam put the bark in there.
Everything, right? So
exactly. So
you dropped maybe the odd one, but we said we're like maybe we got to be more edgy, and then Chimmer goes, "Yeah, we need to be more fucking edgy," and it was just flowed.
Bosco, that's a buck, bud.
That's a buck, yeah. Right in
the
yeah, bro,
it's crazy, and it's fun.
Yeah,
Rhodes and Rupp, they add new and they add an element to our pod, the pod. And it's a fun ride, and let's keep it going.
Yeah, for sure. No, it is. It definitely.
Yeah, now that this episode's at 200 hours, hey?
Exactly. So 200 hours on episode 200. So, but no, it's kind of how I think it should be with the people that we had, and it just kind of sets things up for the next season. And just a good interview all around in that aspect. So, um, Mets fans, without further ado, I think it's time to with all that said, it's time to get down to some business here. I know the biggest thing everyone's tuning into, and it's to keep everyone on. And at the late very moment here is
If you're still up,
if you're still up, exactly. So we have some tickets to give away for our Heritage Classic Edmonton Oilers versus Calgary Flames ticket giveaway. And then our first set of tickets goes away to, and our winner is Jennifer Oakley. So Jennifer Oakley is a great person from what we see here in these nominations, and from everyone that nominated her, her family, and the entries that she did, and retweeting and following and liking and subscribing to us. It's really good. So our first set of tickets goes to her. So thank you for doing that and being a part of our 2 month podcast journey here, and being successful in following all those accounts. And so thanks to our sponsors for stepping up, SeatGeek and everyone else for joining here is pretty sweet. And so we'll move over to our frontline worker giveaways. So we have 2 sets of those to go. So our first set, Clay Vanderham, you have a winner there.
so we got an email from Kyle McRae. I don't know if he's related to Razzle Dazzle Basil McRae, Minnesota North Stars, St. Louis Blues. But Kyle sent in an email, and he said, I wanted to enter my sister for the Heritage Classic contest. Allison, congratulations. I don't think your last name is McRae, but you did. Kyle, your brother didn't put your last name in. Allison has been a nurse with AHS since 2007 and a diehard Flames fan, which, okay, that's.
I like it. I like it a lot.
We'll forgive you, Allison. Like the rest of her family. I wouldn't say anything puts her apart from the rest of the nurses who did all the difficult task of dealing with COVID and battling with the COVID BS and whatnot. But she was working 6 days a week for 2 straight years, which can be tough with a couple with 2 young daughters. I will keep it short, but she would love to take her husband to the Heritage Classic. So congratulations, Allison and her husband. And thank you, Kyle, for nominating Allison.
And Phil Stockley, close it out.
So we have a City of Edmonton firefighter as our final winner for the Heritage Classic tickets. Derek Lubchinski. He's a Edmonton firefighter, and he's also a hockey coach. He coaches 2 minor hockey teams. So he's a very busy guy, and he was nominated by Cam Nickel. So Cam Nickel nominated Derek Lubchinski. So congratulations, Derek, and thank you for all you do with the City of Edmonton Fire Department.
Awesome. So huge thanks to those, and nice to have that. So thanks for everyone for sticking with us here 3 hours plus on a pod. So any final comments before we sign out on that?
They've heard us talk enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt, hey?
Yeah, so for those winners, reach out to us. If you've emailed us what you have, just reach out to us. We'll get you those tickets back, and we'll give you guys some time there, and then we'll post the winners on social media here. But obviously, the catch is to listen to the pod to hear your name and the winner nomination. So huge thanks to those people that won. And Phil, anything you want to add before we sign out?
I think they've heard me quite a bit. Oh yeah, how's the stash coming in, boys?
Well, Lanny would be happy. He told you to keep it, right? So
happy.
Well, he did, and I don't know what he means by fertilize it, but we're trying here. So
yeah, exactly.
All right, that's enough out of me. So we'll see you in episode 201.
We'll see at the start of the season.
All right, Mets fans, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And be humble, be kind. Have the conversation. Look out for your brothers and sisters out there, and keep staying positive. And enjoy the nice summer that we have. And you know, if you're listening, drive safe. If you're flying, safe travels, and all the best to you guys.